he'll finish his career in probably the top half of, those conversations. I don't know what his numbers are off the top of my head, but there are a lot of big numbers, and I'm sure
got him in front of me.
He's got about 5 years of good football left in him. He'll continue to stockpile those numbers, and then when you look up, his numbers will be where everybody else's numbers are. He's got a Super Bowl. He'll go down as a Hall of Famer. That's just what it is. Now, I don't know if it'll be first ballot, second ballot, third ballot, whatever, but he'll certainly be in Canton.
Mm-hmm. Where are the numbers, Max?
Well, I mean, this past season, almost 5,000 yards, 48.86. He has a 5,000-yard season, 49.67, virtually 5,000 yards, 46.50. He's always in the above 4,000 yards, sometimes, close to 5,000 yards. A lot of touchdowns, around 30 plus a year, but also some picks. He profiles. The amazing thing about this season, Jay, to me, it helped shape the profile. It brought him into focus.
Agreed. This is why I love sports, man. This is why I
why are you laughing?
love sports. Because people were just poo-pooing all over Matthew Stafford when this trade first went down. Like, so many people were saying, I don't think he's going to be it. But, think about how much the narrative has changed. Now we're talking about him being a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
A Hall of Famer. His numbers were already good in Detroit anyway. It just didn't equate to winning at the level people wanted it to. And now, since he has weapons around him and he has legitimate coaching, look how much has taken off.
I certainly dumped on him. 100%.
Yeah.
And we'll do it again if he throws another pick
that's what I want
in
to
the
get
Super
to.
Bowl.
Because
that's what he does. He was good in Detroit, and we needed to see him in a Rams uniform to be able to see if that was the same guy in Detroit or if this is a different guy. If you go toward the end of the regular season and you look at Matthew Stafford toward the end of the season, he was trying to give the season away. He was reverting back to interception, pick six, Matthew Stafford. So people was still kind of like, oh, God, here we go.
But, Key, when you're part of bad organizations, even if you are the guy, look at what's happening with Dame in Portland right now. Dame's numbers are incredible, but I'm just saying, when you're part of bad organizations that just can't figure it out, inevitably, that makes somebody look at your status and start to question it, right? Even though, fit solely, it matters, guys.
I have a question for you, Jay, because we got to move along. We got Joe Burrow's dad, Jimmy Burrow, coming up in a few minutes. I'm with Key on this, okay? I want to see where you are. We'll just do it quickly. There are players where it is ambiguous what it all means, what this whole resume means. It will come down to some key moments, key games, and so to speak. And I am one of those people who says, even if you could replay the universe and in an alternate universe he hit that pass, in this one he didn't. And that's how we're forming our opinion of it. Like Reggie Jackson. What if he didn't hit all those World Series home runs? He did. He did do that. He missed the pass, yes. He missed the pass. Is that significant to you? Can a legacy be defined, in your opinion, in a game like that, in a moment like that?
Yes,
it can.
Yes, it can.
Yeah.
For sure.
Okay.
For sure it can. I'm just saying how much the narrative has shifted. To now we're even mentioning Matthew Stafford's name in the same breath with the Hall of Fame.
But I think it was always, I know we got to move on, Max. I think it's always been that empty box because of what went on in Detroit. He gave you all the numbers. The numbers are the numbers. Brett Favre got the same pick machine numbers. There's no question about it. But you check the box when you win a Super Bowl. It's like, okay, now here's the exclamation point. He's moving on. Here's his career. Here's his numbers. He's going to be great. That is what it is.
John Elway, we think of him now as he was in the conversation for GOAT at one point. Right now, Brady's won too many Super Bowls. But the last two Super Bowls really weren't on Elway. It was no longer prime Elway. He got a running game and won two.
Yeah.
And won two.
It changed everybody's thought.
It changed it. Otherwise, we're thinking about him more like Donovan McNabb or someone like that. Real talented guy.
Not
Donovan McNabb lived in the NFC Championship game. He put up big numbers. He was really good.
But Elway went to Super Bowls, man.
Okay, all right.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN Plus right now.